All right. Take two of exercise phone case. Here we go. So create a new document and make sure the workspace length unit is set to inches. Boom, created a new document. Check the workspace unit. It's inches. Woo woo. Now we're going to begin a sketch on the top plane. The top plane. Let's do a sketch. N for a normal view, P to make the planes go away. We're going to start with a center point rectangle that represents the complete, like the outside size, like the total footprint size, overall size of the phone.
Hey, Mr. Langenau. Or not Mr. Langenau, Mr. Recorder. Shoot.
Yeah, what's up?
I gotta leave early. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
right.
Just it'll be on a video, so you'll hear this when you know you need to start paying attention.
Okay.
All right. Have a good day, though. Okay. So center point rectangle, 3.5 inches wide, 6 inches tall. Let's start there. Center point rectangle. Click on the origin. That's where we want our center to be. And then you can see like it gives you the numbers kind of so you can get close. And then as soon as you click to place the corner, you can just type in the dimensions, whichever one lights up with the box around it. Type. So 3.5 for the width, and then it jumps to the next one when you hit enter. 6 inches for the height. And now my rectangle is all dimensioned up. Now, we're going to make a conic in the top left corner. We're going to do the virtual sharp, which I'll show you. If you don't remember what that is, I'll show you while I'm placing it. And we want to place that on the corner of the rectangle. And then we're gonna trim. Yeah, we'll show you about that in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna make a conic in this corner up here. And so this little dot that it's trying to place right now is the what do they call it? Virtual sharp. Oh, dang it, I placed it in the wrong place. If I was to put it, just drag it when I was placing it right there. See how it's gonna give you that little the yellow square light up? That means it's gonna give you a coincident restraint, right? Constraint right there. Okay, so cool. That's how we want it. Row of 0.5. So we need to make these construction lines here. A vertical one there and a horizontal one there. So get our construction line tools. Make a horizontal one that goes to the side. Escape. And make a vertical one that goes to the top. In the instructions, endpoints are consistent. Yeah, okay, cool. So next, they want us to do a mirror sketch to make this thing go to all the four corners. And they want us to start by trimming the horizontal and vertical lines between the virtual sharps and the conics, and then replacing them with construction lines, and then making an equal constraint between those construction lines, and then putting this dimension on here after we do the mirroring. So I'm going to kind of show you the best like order to do this stuff in. So I'll start with the trim tool, come up here and I'll trim that edge, and then I'm going to replace those edges with construction lines. Escape out of that tool. Then I'm going to select both construction lines and give them an equal constraint. And now I'm going to, after I've done that, to make sure that that the conic has like the right dimensions on it a little, or at least that they're the same. Now I can mirror that around and then use a dimension to give it to lock it into place. So I'm going to use now the mirror tool. So select a mirror line. So you're going to have to do the mirror tool twice. So there's the mirror line, and I want to mirror the conic over there. So then you're going to click to say I'm done with that one. Now click it again to start a new mirror tool, except we're going to use the horizontal construction line to be the mirror. And then we're going to copy both of these across. And then we're going to put this dimension of 2.5 for the flat top part here, and that should lock everything into place. Boom, shakalaka. Everything's locked into place, so we're good now. Although we probably want to trim, we can trim now. It'll be easier to trim these guys here, so it doesn't try to leave us a surface in between there. So we're going to accept the sketch. We're going to name it phone outline. So before we click on that, whoops, I'll show you that next time. We're going to rename this sketch phone outline. Okay, so next, now this run right here took me like a long time to figure out, because I realized one of my original problems was I made this original curve way too big, so that when I started putting dimensions on stuff, all these other curves started twisting around and doing weird stuff. So I'll show you a couple of things to try to avoid. So we'll start by creating we're going to create the profile to sweep around the this will be like the kind of like the bottom of the phone, and we're going to create a profile to like sweep around it to be like the edge of the phone. So this will be like the profile that sweeps around it. We're going to start by creating a new sketch on the right plane. We're going to first sketch a conic whose first end point is horizontal to the origin with a row of 0.525. So I'll get a conic, make it horizontal to the origin. Row 0.525. Okay, so now what I need to one thing to think about is how big should this thing be? And if I look at my phone case, if this is the length and width of my phone, the depth of it should only be about maybe this high. So I need to make this a lot smaller. Let me move this over here a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's more kind of to scale. But now I can zoom in on this part and keep going. Okay, so we started with the conic. The first endpoint was horizontal to the origin. And then it says to pierce the virtual sharp of the conic to the previous sketch. So from this side view, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on when you pierce this virtual sharp to that sketch. So I want to show you what's going on when we do that. So it's basically you're going to tell this point to move to the point in the plane that intersects with this line. So you use pierce, and then you pick the virtual sharp here, and it's gonna pierce this line. Okay, then we got a vertical line, and then another conic with a row of 0.5, and then a 3-point arc, and then a vertical line. So first I'm going to kind of bring this guy up a little bit because it looks a little more like that. Then I'm going to make a vertical line. Then another conic. Row 0.5. Then a 3-point arc. And then a vertical line. Okay, so we've got the pierce done, we've got horizontal to the origin done, and then they want us to put a vertical constraint between this top point here and the center point of the arc. So I'll do that. Select these 2 points and then put a vertical constraint on them. And then we can start trying to put tangent constraints on here. But if you notice in the instructions down here, it says if you are having trouble with this sketch, continue to the next step and add some dimensions and then finish adding sketch constraints. You'll see that we have trouble trying to add all the tangent constraints here. So they're kind of admitting that you can't really finish this until you go to the next slide and start putting dimensions. So what happens is when we start putting tangent constraints on, well, let me see if we start from this side. If I put a tangent constraint there, that's cool. Where did it go? Yeah, it's there. So then put a tangent constraint between these two. Look what happens. It goes all weird. So I'm going to undo with Control Z. But where else can I put tangent constraints? I can put it here. Okay, seems fair. How about these two? All right, that seems cool. But for some reason, when I try to put a tangent constraint on these two, it just freaks out. So I'm going to wait on that tangent constraint and do like it says. We gave you frustrating and incomplete instructions. So go to the next slide. And I'll start putting some dimensions on here. So from this point down to the bottom was 0.325. Okay, I'm gonna move some stuff to try to make it look a little more like it's supposed to look. What happened there? I don't know if that's supposed to be vertical right there. Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay, let's do some more. This dimension from this point to the virtual sharp is 0.125. So the heights of these points go 0.25, 0.3, and then 0.4 to the top. Five. 0.3. Point 4. And then from the back to the front, between the vertical lines, the horizontal distance between those is 0.1. The radius of this arc is 0.03. And let's see if now we can put the tangent constraint up here. Yay. So now we can accept this sketch. Oh, but what we're going to do is we're going to name it. I'm just going to call it phone profile. You can do that by just, you hover right here, you get this little pencil. Profile. And the green check. But now we're going to do a sweep, a surface sweep to make a new surface. We're going to use the profile as the curve to sweep, and the path is going to be the outline. So sweep, surface. What are we going to sweep? We're going to sweep the profile. What is going to be the path? The path will be outline. And bada bing, bada boom, got a surface. Okay, next we are going to make a sketch to basically fill in the bottom. We're going to do it by making a sketch. We're going to do the use tool, and we're going to select the bottom edge of the sweep that we just did, because that's where it touches the top plane. And then we're going to, in the next step, we will turn that into a surface. So we're going to make a sketch on the top plane, which is actually the bottom of the phone. We're going to make a sketch there, and we're going to do the use tool, which looks like just a box. And we're going to be careful to select the very inside edge of the bottom here. pick other lines, it'll give you different geometry. Like if you accidentally click like a segment over here or something down here, it'll give you lines that you don't want. And I'll show you what to do in case that happens. So I want to keep following around this edge of the inside bottom here. And as soon as I get all the way around, it'll fill in a shaded area. Anytime you make a closed surface, it fills in the shaded area. Okay, so what I'm going to do, now I know that the inside part is what I want. I'm going to hide the other surface so I can just see just my sketch. And then I'm going to realize I'm going to escape my use tool. Then I'm just going to come over here and delete these things that I didn't need. So then we can accept that sketch. Show that other surface now. Okay, so now we are going to make a surface out of that. We're going to use the offset surface feature, and we're going to do the offset distance of 0. So it just makes a surface right there. So offset surface is here. Sketch 1, and then the offset distance will be 0. Now we just have a surface in there that's basically the bottom of our phone. I'll make it a different shade of blue, but oh yeah, no, I gotta wait until it's the part anyway. These colors don't matter yet. Okay, what's next? What's next? Now we're gonna make a surface that's basically the glass of the phone. So it needs to be on touching on the inside of the surface that's curved. So what we can do is we can set our sketch plane. We can select our sketch plane with one of these make connectors instead of like making a plane. So we're going to start by we're going to show the phone profile sketch. Okay. And we're going to create a new sketch. So we're just going to hit the sketch button. And then we're going to hit this button here to pick a plane based on a mate connector. So we're just going to click on sketch and then click on the select mate connector button. And then we want to just put a mate connector on the end, on that vertical part of the sketch. And we want the blue part going straight up or straight down. That's the Z axis. So now once you click there, it gives you your sketch plane. And what we want to make in the sketch is we're going to do the use button, and we're just going to follow this curve around here, the one that comes right off of that point. So let me see, maybe if I'm going to do with hidden edges removed. So I think it'll be easier to see this line maybe as we follow it around. So I'm going to hit the use button up here. And then I'm going to start following this line around. And then once I select this last curve, it should shade in that area right there. Okay, so we'll just accept that sketch. And then we're going to do an offset surface with a distance of 0 to make a surface right there. So offset surface, select that last sketch we did, and the offset distance will be 0. And now we've got our phone here. So next we're going to make a solid part using the enclose feature. And it'll absorb the surfaces if we clear the, just leave it blank, the keep tools checkbox. So under thicken is enclose. And then I'm going to select the 3 surfaces that we've made. I'm going to leave this box unchecked so that the surfaces go away. If you check it, you can see that it keeps all the surfaces down here. If you uncheck it, they go away. So I'm going to accept that. Now I have a part that I'm going to name phone. And I'm going to give it a color. And then I'm going to apply add appearance to this face. And I'm going to make that black because that's the screen. So here is the phone. Next, we're going to create a variable. So this might be interesting later on. Might be something that I have been hoping to find out how Onshape does. So we're going to create a variable, and we're going to call it offset. And we're going to input the value of it to be 0.025 inches. And it's going to be the distance between the phone and the case. So the variable button is here. So then we want it to be a length, and we're going to name it offset. And the value was 0.025, right? Yes. So now we have this variable over here. It has the variable saved for us. Next, we're going to do an offset surface from the phone to create the case. And the distance that we offset, we'll just use that variable offset. And the only faces we're going to use is the bottom, and then the curved side down on the bottom, and then the straight side. None of the curved stuff that's on the top. So we're going to do an offset surface again. Start with the bottom. Ooh, this is easier with the edges turned off. It just picks the surfaces easier, I think. And then stops looking good. Okay, so we got the bottom and just the vertical edges. Oh, we need parts too. Okay, I think I got all of them. Okay, and then for the distance here, you're just going to you do a hashtag, and then it gives you your variables, and you can click right there, and it's hashtag offset, and check. So now we've got a surface that is just a little bit away from our phone. Okay, so next we're gonna hide the phone in order to be able to see this. we're going to make a sketch right here on the end of the surface we just made. It's a conic with a row of 0.5. We're going to make these construction lines and then do an equal constraint on them, dimension it to be 0.1, and then a horizontal line here, 0.15, and then we'll pierce to the edge. That's basically what would be at the top of the phone case. So that was a sketch on the right plane. Hide the phone. Okay. So we need to do a conic and all this stuff, 0.1 and 0.15. So conic. It won't let me just go there. I'm going to have to pierce it later. So I'm just going to make my conic. Row 0.5, and then I'm going to make a horizontal line. And then I'm going to make construction lines. That go from the endpoints to the virtual sharp. Then I'm going to tell this one to be horizontal. I'm going to tell this one to be vertical. And I'm going to tell both of them to be equal to each other. And then I'm going to put the dimensions. This is 0.1. And from here to here is 0.15. And then all I need to do now is pierce this point onto this top edge here, and it's easier to see what's happening if you tilt it a little bit. Right now, my sketch is just like way up here somewhere. I need to figure out how to get it to touch that line. So we just use pierce, that point, and that line, and Shazam. So now we are going to sweep that around the edge of the surface. So sweep, surface. We're going to add it on to the existing surface. And what curve is it going to be? I'm just going to select sketch 3 so it gets the whole thing. And the sweep path, we just start clicking on the top edges here. Okay, so now we're going to do a thicken. And we're going to go make it go outwards 0.0625 inches. So thicken. And I'm just going to click on the surface down there. 0.0625. And then I'm going to, we're going to rename this case. And then that color is going to bother me. Okay, so rename it case. Okay, now we want to split the case into a top part and a bottom part so they come together. So what we're going to do is we need to get these lines as construction guides for us. So this will be the outside of the case. This will be the inside of the case. So we're going to start by creating a sketch on the front plane. And so you want to kind of imagine where the front plane is kind of cutting halfway through the foam between the top and the bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to select the sides that we would have to kind of visualize which sides are going to intersect. So, and actually, I don't think I need this surface. I'm going to hide that surface. So we need to use, but we want it to be construction geometry. And I want this surface, that surface, that surface. That makes up the outside edges that we want. And now we just want the inside curved edges. So that surface, that flat surface, and that curved surface. Okay. How many of these did it make? Okay, maybe that's why it looked weird. It looks like I made like double of these things. I must have like clicked on them twice. All right. Now we've got this. We are going to now, we're going to make this kind of like jig-jag segment here. We need to do a construction line that goes between the two bottom points, and then we need to make this ziggity-zag thing with horizontal lines that are equal to each other, and there's an angle of 125 degrees, and the horizontal lines are 0.05 inches away from each other. So we'll zoom in so it's a little easier to see. I'll start by making this construction line between those 2 points. Then I'm going to place a point in the middle of this so that it's the midpoint. Then I'm going to get my line tool and I'm going to make a horizontal line up here and a horizontal line down here. And then I'm going to make the line that connects in between them. I'm going to make that line and this midpoint coincident. I'm going to make the two horizontal lines equal to each other. I'm going to dimension this angle to be 125 degrees. And the distance from the top line to the bottom line was 0.05. Now that's all dimensioned, so we can accept that sketch. So now we're going to create a surface out of that. That's going to we're going to use to like cut the case into the top and the bottom half. So we're going to do a sweep feature. We're going to use our last sketch as the profile, and we're going to choose like the outside edge of the phone case. So I'm going to go ahead and show the phone case. I'm going to do a sweep, surface, new. What am I going to sweep? Sketch 4 that I just made. What's the sweep path? Just pick one of these edges here. And it says there's a button you can push up here to make it just go, but I don't see it. So we need to select all these all the way around. I picked the wrong one there. Okay, and then I'm just going to hide the case again just to make sure that it shows like I'm making this surface all the way around. Yeah. Okay, so you can't really see it because it's right in the middle of the phone case right now. But we're going to use that surface in just a second to cut the phone case into a top part and bottom part. And we're going to do it using the thicken feature and set it to remove. And then we're going to go 2 directions, and the thickness will be 0.005 in each direction. So thicken, we're going to use the surface we just made. We're going to remove. The merge scope should be the case. Direction 1, 0.005. Direction 2, 0.005. And you zoom in, you can see that there's a little gap there now. And so now you can see that there's 2 cases now. So you have to see which one. So this one's the bottom case. So I'm going to rename this. Lowercase. This one's the top, so I'm going to rename that. So now we're going to delete the surfaces because we don't need them anymore. So delete part. Don't need them anymore. Now we need to cut some holes in the case. So we start with a circle. Let's see. We're going to go to the back of the case here. Make a sketch. We've got a circle. Diameter of 1.25. And it was 1 inch vertically above the origin. And then this little box up here is going to be kind of like the process that we used to make the outside edge of the phone in the first place. So The rectangle is 0.75 wide, 0.5 tall. I'm going to use a center point rectangle. 0.75 across, 0.5 tall. The center is 1 inch to the right, or I mean to the left of the origin, and the top of the rectangle is 2.75 inches above the origin. .75. Now we're going to need to do the little the row thing for the corners, conics. Make sure that the invisible sharp or the virtual sharp is on the corner of the rectangle there. Then we are going to trim and then replace with construction lines. And then we're going to make sure we're going to give an equal constraint between the construction lines. And yeah, even a dimension of 0.15. And then we can use the mirror tool to put it on the other corners. So I'm going to make construction lines to use as my mirrors. And I'll select my mirror tool. First, I'll use this as a mirror and reflect that across. I'm going to select my mirror again, but I'm going to use this line as a mirror, and I'll reflect both of those down. So now I've got that sketch all dialed in. And then I'm just going to do an extrude remove all the way through. Extrude, remove, through all, but the merge scope is only lowercase. What are we going to extrude? That and that. So there's the phone case. Put a phone in it like this. And then you're going to want to make sure you have like the right volume to make sure it's easily graded for full credit. Dang, we made it all the way through. That's cray cray. That was right. Woo!